Hi everyone, I'm reading Dares and Dice, Spicetopia number 5 by Phoebe Alexander, presented by Itsy Bitsy Book Bits. Chapter 1, McKenna. "What about that guy over there?" Poppy asked, pointing across the way to a man with bulging biceps, a shiny brown head, and sparkling brown eyes. My friend Deanna studied him closely. "He's hot. I'd like to see what he's hiding under that shirt." My sister raised her glass, her words slightly slurred. "I call a threesome with him and the dude over there in the red polo." "Emily, you're married," I playfully slapped her arm. We were all laughing when Poppy's phone began to vibrate on the table, her screen lighting up with a restricted number. Her eyes flashed with a certain wildness only achievable after 3 or more cocktails, as she snatched it up and gracefully dismounted her barstool. "Be right back." My friends and sister continued to oogle the man candy all around us as my gaze darted around the club where we've decided to camp out for the night. I could hardly believe we were all in the Bahamas, my last girls-only trip before becoming Miss Darren Faust in 2 short months. It was a lot of work, finding babysitters for my sister's kiddos, a sub for my friend Heather's first grade class, and someone to take my tattoo artist friend Deanna's appointments for the week. Poppy, my maid of honor, was the only one who seemed to have an easy time getting the requested time off. But then again, the groom was her boss. My enjoyment of a low-key moment of reflection came to an abrupt halt when Poppy raced back to the table on her 4-inch heels. "Oh my God, guys, I did it! McKenna, you aren't going to believe this." My eyebrows immediately flew up, as did the rest of the ladies, as Poppy vaulted onto her barstool, her face glowing with excitement. "Did what?" I dared to ask. Poppy Devon had been my best friend since high school. We met in drama club our 9th grade year, and though we both graduated and moved on with our lives, she never quite left her penchant for drama behind. She was the most extra person ever, but having someone so fun and spontaneous in my life was usually a good thing. Otherwise, I'd stay firmly ensconced in my own little shell, never venturing out to do anything crazy. I wasn't much of a risk taker. I would have never gone on a blind date with my fiancé if it wasn't for Poppy, who set us up. "I got us into Spicetopia!" Poppy shouted loud enough that the dude in the red polo shirt my sister was sizing up for a 3-way whipped around to look at us. "What's Spicetopia?" Emily's brows crinkled as she studied my best friend's face. "Have you guys been living under a rock? We've been seeing advertisements for it the whole time we've been here." Poppy gave a tisk-tisk as her gaze swept around the table. Spicetopia? The adult theme park on a private island?" "Adult theme park?" Heather echoed. "What does that mean?" "Where all your fantasies can come true, and variety is the spice of life," Deanna quoted. "Oh yeah, I saw the signs, but I thought it was like a 6-month wait to get in there." "I don't think first grade teachers are allowed to have fantasies," Heather fretted, her blonde brows still pinched together. "Of course you can," I consoled her before turning it to Poppy. "Got us in? What do you mean by that?" Poppy grabbed my hand and squeezed, making my eyes snap to hers. "I wanted to do something extra special and extra fun for your bachelorette party," she explained. "I didn't know if I would be able to get us into Spicetopia. I've been behind the scenes leveraging my contacts, trying to pull some strings, but I just got the call that we're on the standby list for tomorrow." My eyes widened as I gestured around the space. "I thought this was my bachelorette party." She laughed and shook her head. "I mean, this club is fine, I guess," she rolled her eyes, "but Spicetopia will be infinitely finer." She took out her phone and showed me their website. It didn't even seem real. How could a place actually exist with a ride called the Flying Dildo Roller Coaster? It's absurd, right? I had never seen anything like this. Well, I mean, I'd been to the theme parks before, where you parked in a ginormous parking lot and took a tram up to the gate, but this was totally different. At the marina on Great Exuma, there was a dock with a huge banner that read Spicetopia in glittering fuchsia letters. I glanced around at my girls. So, this is the place? This is where we get on the boat to take us to the place, Poppy explained. Come on, McKenna, don't look so nervous. This is going to be fun. I had a weird feeling about this. I'd studied the website thoroughly since last night and didn't know if I was cut out for a place like this. My stomach felt like there was a brick in it, but Poppy, Emily, and Deanna looked like they were on cloud 9. I guess Heather and I would have to suck it up. This bachelorette party appeared to be a democracy, and she and I were outnumbered. Who cares that I'm the bride? Far off on the horizon, as the sun glimmered on the distant waves, a ship appeared. It grew larger and larger until it loomed on the water, heading right for the dock. Poppy grabbed my hand and squeezed. This is it, McKenna! Aren't you excited? Yep, can't wait. I faked it with a beaming smile and everything. I just wanted everyone to be happy. For all my friends to have a great time. Who knew if I'd ever get a girls' trip with them again? This might be our last chance. I was the first to get married, except for my sister Emily, of course. But Heather's boyfriend was sure to propose soon. And Poppy would surely get snatched up any second now. Marriage would change everything, and then when kids came along, I gritted my teeth as I thought about how my 20s had slipped away before my very eyes. I had just turned 30 and was about to become a real adult, with a mortgage and bills and a husband. Spicetopia was wilder and grander than I could have ever imagined. The photos I saw on the website in no way did the theme park justice. From the towering gates to the magnificent rainbow castle, painted in all imaginable shades and with gleaming gold turrets, the attention to detail and the lavish lighting, classy fixtures, and lush landscaping made it the most beautiful amusement park I'd ever visited. Hell, it was one of the most beautiful places I'd ever visited. Our merry band of bachelorettes and one married mama practically skipped down Main Street, trying without much luck, I might add, to keep our jaws from dropping. Even Poppy seemed impressed, and it took quite a bit to impress my worldly best friend. Poppy was born with a silver spoon in her mouth and could happily live off her trust fund if she didn't really enjoy working for my fiancé, Darren, who owned a multimedia communications company. They published magazines, instructional courses, and did PR and advertising. Let's check out the casino, Deanna piped up from the wing of our fivesome. I've got some money burning a hole in my pocket. Heather clenched her jaw. I don't gamble. Oh, come on, Heather, my sister's sweet voice chimed in. I don't gamble either, but we can watch and scope out the hot guys. Says the married lady, I laughed. What on earth would my brother-in-law think of Emily's roving eye? She'd been feasting on man candy ever since we landed 2 days ago. Hey, I always heard what happens in the Bahamas stays in the Bahamas. Her fisted hands came to rest on her hips as she stopped mid-stride and pouted. Besides, dear sister, you are about to commit to one dick for the rest of your life. Are you sure you don't want to take a ride on one last new one? Oh my God, you did not just say that. I rolled my eyes. And I'm pretty sure that saying is for Vegas, not the Bahamas. Poppy's head launched back with her irrepressible laughter. Hey, Emily makes a valid point, and if you were going to hook up, this is the place to do it. She gestured across the vast landscape at the entirety of the magnificent park, which, even in daylight, was exploding with color, sparkle, and intrigue. And those were just the sights. Spicetopia was a veritable feast for the senses, with so many things to smell, taste, touch, and hear in addition to the beautiful views. There were so many attractions just waiting to be explored. I was surprised they wanted to start at the casino. It seemed so pedestrian compared to the Glory Hole, the Wheel of Orgasms, or the Sibian Corral. But I wanted to keep everyone happy, and out of all of my friends, Deanna was probably the toughest to please. We had plenty of time for other adventures. Dee had been quiet and congenial for the entire trip so far, for her anyway, so why not reward her good behavior? The casino is the newest part of Spicetopia, Poppy pointed out, sounding like a tour guide as we veered off Main Street and headed toward the massive building at the edge of the beach. They just opened it a few weeks ago. I shouldn't have been surprised that Spicetopia's casino was unlike any other one I'd ever seen or heard about. We stepped inside the round building that architecturally resembled a roulette wheel. Inside the floor encircled a huge pool with a glorious grotto that surrounded a stage and a waterfall dropping from the dome in the ceiling and splashing down against the slate-gray rocks. I gasped at its beauty, and then I gasped again when a mermaid surfaced on a rock, a la Ariel, and playfully splashed her tail fin in the water. Oh my God! I heard there were mermaids, but I had to see it with my own eyes! Poppy exclaimed, her eyes bouncing between each of us to make sure we were properly entranced. Mermaids and treasure chests contributed to the design theme. All the columns supporting the upper floors were intricately carved with oysters, pearls, mermaids, dolphins, and other fish. The aesthetics were breathtaking, touching me right in the center of my artist's heart. Let's go down to the lower level, Deanna said, pointing to a sign. There's a coral reef down there and the poker tables. It didn't sound like a suggestion, so the entire entourage followed Deanna when she pivoted on her black lace-up boots and headed toward the elevator. Yes, my friend is wearing boots in the Bahamas. She's hardcore like that. The coral reef made up the bottom of the huge pool we'd seen on the main level, and there was thick, curved glass all the way around so you could observe the colorful fish darting amongst the vibrantly hued coral. Every once in a while, you'd see one of the mermaids dive down deep and then back up to take a breath. Everything was so perfectly designed and rendered it made a tear sting at the corner of my eye. I was no longer feeling any sort of trepidation about making this part of my bachelorette party getaway. I was meant to revel in its beauty. I could feel it in my artist's bones. Glancing around the casino area, my eyes caught on nude flesh. I realized right away some of the tables were designated for strip poker, as the players sat around in various stages of undress. There was a man with gratuitous black hair and a lady with saggy breasts. Hey, they were out there, doing their thing, living their best lives. They had just as much right to be here as anyone else. And they looked like they were having a blast, even when the gentleman lost his pants with his next hand. Come on, McKenna, Poppy urged. The slot machines are over here. I'd never played slots before. I'd only been to Vegas once, and it was for some social media conference I attended for my job back when I worked. Darren didn't want me to work, so I'd left my position as the social media coordinator for an art gallery shortly after we got engaged, which was over a year ago now. I did some volunteer stuff here and there, but wedding planning took up most of my time. No wonder I was so ready for this trip. I'd been isolated for far too long. Once Poppy showed me how to use the slot machine, I was enthralled watching the dial spin. I glanced over and saw she was doing something on her phone, which struck me as odd, because we were here to get away from technology and the bullshit drudgery of real life. Just as I was getting the hang of the slot machines, she tugged me over to where Deanna was already piling up chips at her poker table. While I was busy watching Dee kick some serious ass, Poppy nudged me with her elbow. Hey, did you see those guys over there? She gestured with her head toward a table with 5 guys at it. 5 guys. Yes, like the burger chain. I did amuse myself from time to time. I glanced over in that direction and nodded absently. My attention focused on one particular gentleman with golden brownish blonde hair, tan skin, and a beaming smile. Emily joined us, her eyes immediately drawn to the table of guys. They seemed to be watching us, she observed. I squinted. They were drinking and joking about something. One of the guys had a bushy red beard, and his head jerked back as laughter spilled out of his throat, almost loud enough for us to hear across the aisle. No, they're not paying any attention to us at all. Deanna's head snapped toward us. Shut up, guys. You're ruining my concentration. Emily was giggling as she pulled me toward Heather and Poppy. Those guys over there, she pointed to the table, they're staring at us. I rolled my eyes. Well, now they are. Heather gave a nervous giggle. Yeah, they are now. Way to go, Heather. Poppy glanced up from her phone, which she'd just checked again, and gleaming look in her icy blue eyes. I knew that look. She was up to no good. That was when she started to march over toward their table, even as I grabbed her hand to keep her with us. She shook me off as though she had superhuman strength and continued her pursuit. Emily took my arm and pulled me down to whisper in my ear, What's she going to do? I shook my head and bit my lip. With Poppy, anything was possible.